What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel, and today I am delighted to be showing you another piece of gear which I have picked up this week. I mentioned in my previous video that I had bought two pieces of gear, and this is the reveal on the second one. So I don't really want to do too much build up to this one. Let's go ahead and get the manky orange cloth off this device again. See if you can guess what it is from the shape of this. I'm sure a lot of you will have already guessed what this is going to be. So let's take this off and you can see what it is. It is an Electron Analog Heat 2.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Oh my god guys, I have wanted one of these boxes for such a long time. It's at least 2 years. So I looked back on old videos that I'd commented on about this device when I'd seen Marlo Diggs using it and I'd seen Marlo Beats using it, and one of those comments was 2 years old. So for at least 2 years I have wanted one of these devices, and I'm so glad to have finally been able to shuffle around some finances and make it happen. So again, just to quickly recap on why I've been purchasing this kind of gear, it's because I'm trying to look more towards the mastering side of music, the mastering side of making my beats, and I want to add a little bit of extra flavour on the top. So a little bit of spice, just something to fatten up the sound, and I really think that this device can do it. I'm so excited about this one guys. I've only had this about half a day. I had to record the video about the compressor, and I'm straight in recording a video about this one because I'm just super excited about showing you guys. So for those of you that don't know, the Analog Heat is actually a distortion unit. It's got 8 different distortions you can see around here, and it's completely analog as well. So that's the thing that was really important to me. I wanted something analog to try and add some more heat to my beats. No pun intended there with it being called the Analog Heat, but that is literally what I wanted. I wanted some analog heat on top of my beats. So that's really the reason for the purchase. So it's got 8 different distortion circuits, but I think this device is very misunderstood. I know a few people have said that in their videos about this device. It isn't just for adding distortion to things. It can really add just that little bit of, I'll say it again, analog heat that can just really push your beat up and make it sound really, really nice. So I know we talked about that compressor in the last video. I'm still really on the fence with that, guys. I think I might actually send it back because from the experiments that I've been doing with this and with the SP404 Mark II, I think I've got all the bases covered with that device, unfortunately. I've got Clean Boost on this. Clean Boost is part of that pedal, which I actually didn't mention in my previous video. This doesn't have a compressor. There is a way you can kind of make it emulate compression with an envelope follower. It's something I need to look into properly and nail that down. But apparently it is possible. But I think the combination of the 2 compressors on the buses on this device, the Mark II, are enough. And then I've always got the SX and the 303 with compression on them as well. So the compression is covered. The Clean Boost is covered. The low pass filter is actually covered by this unit on the equalizer, and we've got filters. And there was distortion on that pedal as well. Well, I mean, this is a distortion box in its purest form. So I do think that pedal is going to be going back, unfortunately. I've got this weekend to think about it, and then I'm going to make a decision. So in today's video, I'm going to do a quick walk around of this and show you some of the sounds out of it. As I mentioned, I don't know a great deal about it yet because I'm just really excited and wanted to get it on the table and get a video filmed about it. So I'll just talk you through some of the basics. I'll talk you through the look and feel and what I've paid for it, etc. This is not the latest device. It is not the latest Analog Heat. There is now an Analog Heat Plus effects. This is not that device. This is the Analog Heat 2. So it's not the newest one, and I've actually picked this up second hand. So yeah, let's start off with the price. Now, this is not a cheap unit. This was £550 used, but what I will say is when it turned up today, I was really impressed with the condition of it. You can see here, it's pretty much brand new. I mean, I can't find a single blemish on this. It had a bit of dust on it, which I cleared off, and after that, it just looks absolutely immaculate. It came with the original USB cable and the original power supply, and it also came with the original manual and the original sticker. The only thing it didn't come with was the box, but to be honest, I was quite happy about that because I get a bit weird about boxes for equipment. I tend to hoard them and they never get used and they take up a lot of space, so I was kind of glad that that decision was just made for me, that I don't have to have the box for it. So in terms of the look and feel, I think this device looks absolutely awesome. They've nailed the colour scheme. Everything just looks really nice. It's a very similar form factor to the Digitac, and yeah, I just think it looks great. The build quality is absolutely fantastic. You couldn't ask for anything more, really. The casing is metal. It's got a real weight to it, a real quality weight to it, and all the dials, they just feel so nice, especially this big dial. It's got a really satisfying resistance on it. You can see it kind of resists and then it will eventually just flick round to the next one. I don't know how easy that is to demonstrate to you guys. All these dials feel super nice. They're kind of rubberized, and all in all, build quality and feel absolutely top notch. I mean, you're paying a lot of money for this device. Build quality is definitely not compromised. So yeah, the price of it is quite expensive, £550 for an effects unit. That's pretty crazy. I know it's a lot of money, and it's actually more than the SP404 Mark II. I mean, it makes you realise how much you get for your money on the Mark II. It really is an incredible unit. But I think because of it being analog, that really pushes the price up of things these days. I was looking at analog compressors, they're super expensive. So it's not just the distortion. I mean, you've got all the different distortions, obviously, but then you've got the equalizer and the filters. We've got LFOs and things like that. They could possibly be used. I don't know if they will be on my Beats, but there is a bit more to this than meets the eye. I do think that it is a little bit pricey for what it is, but from my experiments so far, I'm really, really digging the sound of it already. So I'm definitely pleased with this. This is something that's definitely staying in my collection. One quick thing that I want to mention before I start throwing some sounds through it as well is that this also is a audio interface. So I'm actually recording all the sounds that are going through the SP and through this into my computer via USB. So that's a really nice feature as well. It's the same as the SX. So let's get in and do some sounds. I'm not really going to do a full tour of everything on this one. It will become clear when I start talking about things. So I'm going to start on clean boost, and these gradually get more and more corrosive and more distorted as you go around the dial. So let's check out this beat that I've been making, and we can add some clean boost and see what it sounds like. Okay, that's the intro with nothing on, so it's bypassed at the moment. You can see here there's an off and on. So let's hit it on and play that passage again. And this is the incredible thing about this device, is you've got a dry and wet mix. So basically what that means is you're not putting it on the whole signal, you're kind of overlapping it. It's quite hard to explain. It's like parallel, isn't it? So I can choose how much it affects the signal that's coming into the unit and really dial in exactly how much of the specific distortion that I want on it. So obviously, yeah, here at the moment we're on the clean boost. Let's play that passage again with the drums. First we'll turn it off, and I'll actually put this on mid sort of beat so you can get an idea of the difference in sound. So this is without it, and let's pop it on now. That's off again, and let's go and pop it on again. I really hope you can hear that difference, guys, because that is like night and day. It just absolutely transforms the sound of that. And I know that's only a clean boost, so I think pretty much that's just pushing the volume up. But it just adds this amazing warmth to it. It sounds absolutely incredible. So we'll do some saturation as well. Let's hear what this sounds like. We'll turn it off at first. Again, sounds really, really nice. It's really kind of adding a lot of punch into the mix. It's adding a little bit of distortion, kind of corroding things a tiny little bit, but it's sounding nice. It's very musical the way it applies effects, I think. And obviously with all these controls that you've got down here for each individual type of distortion, you can really dial in the sound that you want. So let's have a quick listen to Enhancement. So that sounds quite similar to the saturation, I think. Obviously, I didn't play around with the controls that much. There seems to be like a gradual process of this getting worse and worse as it goes around. And to be honest, most of the stuff on the right-hand side probably won't be using that on my beats because it's just a bit too much. I'll just give you a demonstration of one of them, but they do get pretty wild over on this side. It could be quite fun to add on some drums. Okay, so let's try some classic distortion. I'll start with it off. You'll very obviously be able to hear this. You can see there with that dry wet knob, I can kind of really dial it in so it's not overpowering, or you can just absolutely destroy things as well. So there's so much control over those effects, and there's so much you can do on a master signal. I really, really like just playing around with those. So let's have a listen to the EQ. This is pretty powerful as well, and it just sounds very, very sweet. So we'll play that loop again. Maybe we'll go to the second part of the loop, because you guys are probably getting bored of that now. And I'll just play around with these EQs here, just so you can hear the difference that it can make. This can completely change the mix of your beat with these two dials, and I think that's really, really exciting. Say you wanted a certain sound, you can just change it so much with these two. So I'll just show you an example of that as well. So that was starting to sound really, really nice and warm, and let's listen to that. I'll do an off and on comparison in this loop. I mean, wow, that just really, to me, brings a lot of life into the beat. I hope you could hear that. Those low-end tones in the beat, the kick was so punchy and warm, and then I just dialed back the highs a bit to take off that high end, and I was getting a really, really nice mix with that. I mean, you could literally play with this unit for hours dialing in sounds. It's so fun and so tactile. That's what I really like about it as well. Okay, so down in this section, we've got the filters. Now, these have a number of different options. You can change the sound of the master signal even further with these. You can turn it off and on by pressing both the buttons together, and then you can cycle through. There's all different kinds. There's like a low pass filter. There's different shape low pass filters. There's sort of, I don't know the technical names for these really, like band reduction. There we go. Like band increase as well. I don't know, band boost, I guess. High pass filter, more aggressive high pass filter. So many to choose from to be able to sculpt your beats and the sound of it. So let's have a go at these and see what we can get out of this. I'm just going to do a kind of simple low pass filter and play around with that. We've got that set up here, as you can see. Let's change the frequency and start with kind of nothing, and then dial it back, and you can see how powerful it is. Okay, so you can hear there, very, very powerful stuff. Apologies if that was a bit loud. I think that might have been clipping a little bit. Let's try a high pass filter. So that's a whole other area really. I need to look into that a little bit more, but there's obviously a lot of control that you can do there. And on top of that, you can also set up LFOs as well to kind of follow along with the signal that's coming in. And I think that's pretty much how you can create a kind of pumping. You use the volume as one of the parameters and you can get it to kind of pump along. But I'll do another video about that and probably dedicate a whole video to that actually. Probably one more thing to say is here you've got your preset and data wheel, and there's loads of presets in here that you can just scroll into. You can see here all my circuits: saturation, enhancement, mid drive, rough crunch, classic distortion, and then there's loads of slots to save your own as well. I mean, there's hundreds of them really. Well, let's see, we've got to 128 different slots, including the default ones that are there. And you can see underneath it says press and hold to save, so you can just press both of those if you've got a sound which you want to apply to, you know, several beats that you want to run through it. It's just an amazing piece of gear, this. I do appreciate that the price tag is quite high, but I think for what you get, it is worth it, and there's no way this is going from my collection now. I can see myself using this on absolutely everything, especially mastering beats, and also as well, it could just be used for running samples through it, just to make it sound that little bit sweeter. So, as I've mentioned, you know, I'm just trying to add subtle little things to my setup to make it sound a bit more unique a bit better, a bit more gritty, or a bit more boosted. And I think this has been a really good purchase because it's given me exactly what I want, basically. So let's do a quick little run through of that beat just to finish off, and then we'll wrap things up. Okay, and that without it on. I mean, that's a crazy difference. Really, really like that. I mean, I think if you spend the money on one of these guys, I don't think you will be disappointed. But honestly, I really think if you're well into making your beats and you want something tactile to sort of master with and play around with the sound and add a little bit of, literally, as I keep saying, analog heat, you're not going to be disappointed with this device. So let me know in the comments below, do you own one of these devices? Is this something you've looked at before? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm in love with this piece of gear already, and I can't wait to start actually releasing some beats and use this as a mastering unit. I've got to go away and scratch my head about that compressor now. I really don't think I need it, so I might be sending that back. But yeah, definitely want to try both of them in a chain. I think that'll be really fun. I think that's the last experiment I want to do with it, really, and then maybe it'll go back. So thanks for watching as usual, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget all the links in the description below, which enable you to support what I'm doing here. See you all in the next upload very, very soon.